Hello, fellow robots out there in internet land. I am Sobertron, and welcome back to the next episode of Titancraft Season 6 here on Tango Tech's Patreon server. And as always, guys, if you want to join me and this fantabulastic community, all the information you need is down in the description for Tango Tech's Patreon page. Just click the link, follow the directions. It's great. It's fantastic. Join us here. We have new people always joining us. It's pretty insane. But look behind me. Look at those dudes. Look at them. They look so great. They look fantastic. Kash and I have been quite busy in between episodes, and we've done some stuff off camera, doing some things. So I think I talked about it when I was building this Outer Ring episode. This was a flat wall, and we had the idea to make this little alcove back there, and we were going to add in some statues. My initial plan was they were going to be taller and kind of take up the whole space. But then we found some designs online, and we modified them and made them our own, and this is what we came up with. I don't even know what to call these dudes, though. In my brain, think they're kind of like mech golems, and that they will come to life to defend the city for invaders and attack and things. But they just look so cool. I have two favorites, though. This guy here on the left, that Kash did with this giant kind of cleaver axe, and then we have some more over here on the green side. And my absolute favorite one is this one on the left that I did with this giant warhammer hammer thing. They look great. I absolutely love these things. And we even added in a few more on top of those 6. We had these flat wall spaces here on the purple and blue side, so I went with my two favorites, and I did a couple cleaver guys and a couple of warhammer guys. I think they look really cool, though. Separate little alcoves here that Kash designed. They look great. I love these things. They look so fantastic, and I really like the idea that they are the defenders of the city. But we're not going to be spending time in the base today. Nope, not at all. We are going to be venturing a little bit, not too far, because there's a farm that Kash wants to build. And we're gonna switch things up in this episode, guys. But let me head over there. It's pretty close, and I'll talk about what we're gonna be doing today. So here we are, we've arrived, and you can see we are super close to our base. You can see our trading hall and our gold farm and all the fun stuff. But we're going to be working it down in this hole today. I wanted this far enough away so entities weren't going to be an issue, because there are going to be a lot of them down here. So I've started digging a big hole, and it needs to go a little bit deeper. What we're going to be building today is a sheep farm, and we're going to be using a design from one of our server mates, LiteHorizon, who has a tutorial on this. I've made some modifications to it. So I'll have a link in the description to the main tutorial, but I'll go over any changes that I make. But it's going to be interesting because I'm not building this sheep farm. Kash is building this sheep farm. We're doing a bit of a little switcheroo in today's episode, guys, where where I dig the hole and decorate the final farm design storage stuff, and Kash does the technical bits while I kind of peer over her and ridicule her for doing things wrong. But I need to finish digging this hole first. I want to try to save some of these materials. It's always nice to have, especially the diorite, granite, and andesite lying around to trade with my villagers. So I'm going to finish digging this hole. I think I need to go 8 or 10 blocks deeper in this design. And then when I come back, I will place 1 block down to give Kash a guide to build this. I've already built it on a creative world. She just needs to copy and paste it. So hopefully things go well. There's something that's just so very satisfying about having a grid of torches. I don't know why people spam place them everywhere. If you just do a little 4 block gap in between all of them, you get perfect light levels every time. So you might have seen me counting in the time lapse, and that's what I was doing. I was making sure that perfect spacing of all of our torches, because I'm OCD sometimes, and that's just what I do. But room took no time at all. This is here for a reason. The sheep farm's actually going to be a little bit elevated from our storage, and I didn't see fit to dig all that out. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place the first layer of chests. That way, Kash has a guide to go off of. This episode is very weird because usually this is me doing this stuff, and I'm just going to keep on going and building. Hang on. It's an 11 by 11 room, so right on the other side of these torches, and then there's a 3 block gap. 1, 2, 3, there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 48 sheep inside of this farm, and they're gonna be 16 in each of these wings, and each wing is gonna have 4 of a color, so 4 sheep of 4 different colors. So it could be like white, black, light gray, and gray, and then colors, colors, colors. But there'll be 2 slices of storage for each of these things. Uh, it's a really, really amazing farm that Light designed here. A lot of sheep farms either have like piston feed tapes with a bunch of sheep in one cell. The problem I've seen with those is that you can't re-dye them after the fact. Now, even though I initially am going to have 4 of each color in here, it this farm gives me the flexibility to re-dye them. There's a little trick that you can do to make things kind of amazing. I don't know how else to say it. It's really cool. I'll demonstrate it later on what I mean, but it's hard to explain without actually having the farm in place. And seeing as Kash is the one building this farm and not me, I can't show it to you in between, like clips. So it's going to be like probably huge jump cuts because Kash and I are in vastly different time zones right now. So I have to wait for her to come online later on tonight for her to actually build this thing, or at least start building this thing. And then, like I said earlier, ridicule her for doing things weird. Because I'm the technical person of our group. And I just realized I need to get some sheep down here. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Hmm, maybe water a water stream and send him on down. Get some grass in here. That way, it makes our life easier later on. I need 48 of them. That's a lot of sheep to fit in this small area. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll do a false floor up here and have him just chilling out up there. I don't know. I should have thought this through a little bit better, but I usually don't. But I'll be back in a little bit. Hopefully, I can catch Kash as she's building this, and I can explain what's going on, because it really is very simple redstone. But hopefully I can explain it at some point before the farm is completely done. So it's the next day, and a lot has changed inside here, guys. The farm is pretty much done. It is done. But I wanted to go over some stuff that we've done inside of here. So I don't remember saying this. Kash swears I did, that I said I would do all the item filters and the chest placement. So I went ahead and did that while she was building the farm. And I gotta, tip my hat to Kash. She knocked this thing out really fast. A couple hours it took her to get all of this in place. And she just made one minor boo-boo on 2 of the modules, to where she misplaced these iron trap doors underneath here, to where it was actually on the block above it, but on the bottom of it, so I couldn't get the water in, and it was kind of boggling my mind, because the water is really the last thing you want to do in here. But let me explain how this works. You'll see all of our sheep are naked. They have no wool, and that's good. That's by design. What's gonna end up happening is they're standing on a dirt block that will become a grass block eventually, and when they eat that, it'll get detected by the observer underneath here, and then it'll cause the redstone to fire. And because right when they eat it, it becomes they get their wool back. It fires, the dispenser fires, it gets sheared, and the wool ends up in the water stream. And the reason the wool ends up in the water stream actually has to do with the sheep's hitbox. You can see that it's actually into that grass block up there. So when the item pops off, when the wool pops off, it wants to go up. It's trying to look for the next kind of open air block, and that's the water stream. So it's going to pop up and then over. And every single time it works, it never ends up on top of the farm here. It's pretty fantastic. One other cool thing I really like about this farm is that you can re-dye these sheep. with the piston feed tape designs where you got all the sheep in one cell, it's virtually impossible to re-dye them. But with this one, it's really simple. First thing you want to do is just disable each of these little modules. It's going to cause the dispenser to fire, but now when the sheep does its thing and that block updates, because this dispenser is already powered, it won't repower, it won't reactivate itself. And then as soon as he has wool, all you need to do is come down here, break out this block right here and here, and then you have access to him and you can re-dye him. And you can just do that all the way down. The sheep cannot get out here. It's pretty fantastic. This is actually how I initially dyed all of our sheep. They were initially all white, and I came in and I put 4 of each into the system. Did I? That's just that. There we go. That works. And I was able to AFK for a little over an hour because I don't have enough items to put into our filters. So I made this little quick kind of storage for each of the modules, and we're getting a decent amount really fast. I'm sure if TPS was a little bit better, and during great TPS times, this thing's going to start cranking out wool really fast. But I'm going to tear all this out. I'm going to tear out all the storage because I'm crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I am a little crazy. I made this room purposely bigger than it needed to be, and same with this. I made it wider and longer than it needed to be. And now that I'm looking at it, I have a lot of room to play with. Right now, our storage room is 11 by 11, pretty much from fence post to fence post, which I need to kill all these guys soon. And I would like to have a little bit more space. And because I made the room wider, I can actually push these item filters back another 3 blocks. So it'll end up being a 17 by 17 room inside here. And because I need to AFK a little bit longer anyway, because I need more wool to put into these filters, I feel fine doing that. So let me get this room a little bit bigger, get rid of all these guys, and I will be back with you guys shortly. Things are progressing nicely thus far. I don't know if you saw that, but little green wool just went into the little filters, so everything's all nicely connected now. There's one drawback, so because I've got the items going into like this module filters into here and here, and the water stream only goes one way. If it needs to go, into this slice here, it has to make its way all the way around the water stream, which is fine. It's the quick 10-second trip, not a big deal, not a big deal at all. But I have done a little bit different work in here, guys. So I have widened out this gap here. This was 3, now it's 5, and now the whole room is 17 square. I am going to round off the corners, I think, and I think I'm going to try to do something similar to what... Seriously? Really? Right now? Ah. So where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by the server restarting? Decoration. Decoration. What I think I'm going to do is a similar shape to that we have actually in our storage room, with some high vaulted, kind of circular domed ceilings. But we're going to use a completely different block palette. I have an idea in my head and I hope it works. But before we do that, I need to do something else. See, I want to install some automatic on-off switches in here. Which side am I on? It should be this side. Yeah, this side. So this is where our white wool and like the pinks and reds are coming into. And I've done a little bit of work. Do I have any blocks on me? I got a couple iron. Do 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 do. There we go. I've done a little bit of redstone work here. And basically what this is going to do is there's going to be a comparator on top of like that block, and there's another one that you can't see underneath that comparator there. And that's going to read essentially the level inside those hoppers. And it's going to send a redstone signal up through this, and it'll cause this whole line right here to be powered. And when that happens, the dispensers will be automatically turned on. And that way, when the observer gets an update, it won't update the dispenser again. Therefore, sheep aren't getting sheared anymore. So that way, if one color is full but others aren't, this whole farm will still keep on running in the other modules. And it'll, each one of these will have its own little 4 different circuits. And we got to do that for all, 4 modules, 4 circuits per module, so 16 of these. It's going to be some janky redstone, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to probably tear out some of these walls on the side to get everything to fit, mostly because, this line is for this one here, and then this line is going to have to be for the back one, so crisscrossing redstone lines. It's going to be fun. It's the most spaghetti redstone I've ever done. So I'm going to do all that before I actually get started decorating this room. I might get some kind of temp walls up just to get some shape going like I usually do with stone. And then we'll come back and start playing with some block palettes and colors and fun stuff, the stuff I am really bad at and that Kash is good at. I don't know why we're doing this in today's episode, but it's happening, so let's roll with it. All of our new redstone lines are now in place. Up, looks like we got some red wool coming down. Nice. It's all in place. I did it on all four modules. I might make a change though, but I don't really need to do it right now. Right now, any item that gets into the hopper that's reading that comparator's reading, it's gonna temporarily cause that line to flash, and it'll shut the stuff off, and then it'll essentially every time an item trickles down, it's gonna shut these things off and then instantly turn them back on. So I'm probably gonna end up adding a comparator with like a another hopper next to it to read off of it, just so that it doesn't do that as often. But seeing as we don't even have the first double chest down there full yet, it's not really needed. You can see I have a stone monstrosity here right now. I did a little kind of cavey thing, is what I'm going for in here. So kind of similar to what our storage looks like. I have a. This is kind of just a rough draft though. I want to put some more blocks and things in here, but I'm gonna totally change this block palette up. This is just me getting the shape like I usually do, and I'm thinking something white. I kind of, for some reason, have this idea in my head of having a snow cave in here. I don't know why. It's just the idea I've had. So lots of ice, snow. I'm gonna probably grab some quartz stairs and slabs to not make it too blocky. Um, and yeah, I think that'll look good. Probably mix in some diorite to make it look like a little bit of dirty snow, I think is what is best for that. Um, I'm just gonna play around for a little bit, see what looks good. See if I come up with something nice, and if I do, I'll come back and show you my initial draft. Maybe I'll work like kind of side to side and get a corner bit done to see how it looks, and come back, or maybe I'll just do a wall and come back. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever strikes me. But I will see you guys momentarily. So it's actually been a couple of days since my last recording, guys. I started building this using snow and quartz, and I, encountered the systemic problem that is white blocks in Minecraft, and that is none of them go together. Look, none of them match. You've got iron, which has texture, white concrete, which is just a nice white block. I'm loving the new mushroom stems though, but you get into other blocks like the snow with the little bluish hues, which I love, and then bone blocks are kind of yellow and diorite is diorite, and none of them go together. And the only one that we have stairs and slabs for is our lovely friend quartz, and then the diorites, and I don't want to use those. So quartz is what we went with, and this is what I've come up with. I really love the blue ice against the white. It just looks so great. It pops. Decided to go with some sea lanterns because that was the closest kind of light source block, and it was kind of dark up there, and I didn't like that at all. But I just need to finish replicating this all the way around this room now. Tear out all this garbage snow blocks. I love you so much, but sorry, I can't use you. And then I need to cap it off with a ceiling, which I have some small ideas for that. But there is one more thing I want to do before we finish this episode. And it has to do with our sheep back here. You see, when they're sheared and naked, essentially, you can't really tell what color they are. They're just naked. You can't tell. So in the future, if I wanted to redye these and then dye them back, I would have to just remember what color sheep was in each pod. So there's something I'm going to do specifically in these kind of modules on the walls, just to make our lives a little bit easier later on. So let me come back. I'll get this room will be done, and then I'll have at least one of those modules done, and then I'll probably finish doing the other ones off camera in between episodes. But give me a little bit, and I will be back with you guys momentarily. So as audacious as this thing I've done is, I absolutely love it. And I just noticed a mistake right before I started recording. It looks like I didn't line up that line quite right. You can see it goes red to magenta. But I went a little bit more, and I did the other four rooms as well. I usually don't do this, though. I usually don't decorate the kind of inner workings of redstone bits. And for good reason. I have no idea what to do with the ceiling. I thought about, like, extending it out and stuff and things, but it's gonna be weird to connect up in the middle, so I'm gonna leave it for now. Maybe I'll come up with some other idea. Maybe I'll change the pattern up. I don't know. What's really cool is it kind of looks like a quilt. They kind of, little quilts. I don't know. That's just me. But this other room is now also done. Kash came by and she gave it the thumbs up, so that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside because I'm not good at building sometimes, and this one threw me for a loop because of the stupid white blocks being stupid. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm done, complete, and until next time, you guys have a good one.